Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the recent barrage. In fact, it's going on right now. Barrage of propaganda all across the Western world to really push, create, assert, manufacture, invent social division in the West along the lines of gender, race, and sexuality. It doesn't really stop. Those are the three sort of main fault lines that are pursued, and no matter which direction the globalist-funded groups come at it from, they all take the position that it's only straight white people that have to change their behaviour. If only white people would change their behaviour, all would be well. No other group is at fault in any way. Only white people are that bad, and they are so morally inferior, white people, that they're all Hitler. They're so morally inferior that only wholesale changes, absolute root and branch changes to white behaviour can solve the problem. Nothing else can solve it. Do black people or gay, lesbian, or any minority group have to change their behaviour? No, they don't. It's only straight white people, particularly straight white males, because we know they're all fucking evil, fascist, Nazi, Hitler. So that's why they have to change their behaviour. Can't you see? So let's have a look at some of the propaganda. Now, it's sort of all over the place. I mean, you can't not see it at any time of the day. It comes at you from everywhere, whether it's adverts online, adverts on television programs, movies, all across the media. And the most absurd claims are made and assertions are made that England must be an evil, racist, Nazi, fascist place because there are white people in the women's football team. Oh no, the women's football team might be mostly lesbian, but that's not fucking good enough, you fascist Nazi bigots. Unless they are diverse racially and sexually and trans, and unless they've got that whole thing going for them, then they're all fucking Nazis. And let's face it, that's true. And you doubt it, because if you doubt it or question it, then you're Hitler. So just looking at that, there was even on business websites, and I was looking at a number of business websites, and it's amazing how coordinated this campaign is, but they're all talking about how gay, lesbian, and trans people are being, incredibly, horrendously are being persecuted and treated prejudicially in the workplace or at school or college or anywhere out in the street. And this, the persecution and the prejudice and so on, the bigotry that they have put up with, it's simply mind-boggling. They cannot go anywhere without being surrounded by all these straight white male Hitlers who are just harassing them and giving them a hard time. I mean, Hitler has cloned himself by hundreds and millions to solely persecute those people in every place they go. And that's what the research, of course, shows. Now, the research sort of coming out with this thing, 82% of trans people say they were victimised in some way. They were denied promotions. They were refused employment and so on. Now, given they're amongst the most protected class in the Western world, you can imagine it's difficult to believe that they're being singled out for persecution. I just don't buy it. But anyway, let's have a look at the research. Now, what the articles don't point out is the quality of the research, and it is fucking piss weak. So we've got the director of sexual diversity or trans diversity at a cosmetics company has said that they've conducted a poll that says that the trans people and lesbians and so on are being viciously victimised everywhere, all the time, non-stop, and of course by straight white fucking Nazis. And now you say, okay, well, yeah, I wouldn't call cosmetics company and someone who's the director of diversity and activism, I wouldn't call that research. I mean, that's only my view. But if you dig a little deeper, you'd find that actually this person has subcontracted the research out to a specialist lesbian, a very angry lesbian unit within an NGO that is at the cutting, at the absolute cutting edge of hysterical political and social justice activism. So we're looking at a bunch of very, very angry trans and lesbian activists, none of whom, by the way, are academics, not that that would make a difference necessarily. But they then claim that, anecdotally, they claim that they've spoken to trans people who have said, there's no proof, there's no evidence, nothing's been tested. People might claim it, but just claiming you've been discriminated against in some way without knowing what the definition of that discrimination is. Did you ever feel uncomfortable in the presence of heterosexuals? That's it. That's it. You've been fucking dealt a death blow by Nazis, if not Hitler himself. So there's no reporting on the standard of this so-called alleged research. I mean, it's not fucking research. There's no clarification on this. There's no so. Let's look at it. Let's think about angry lesbian men-hating researchers who work for employed by a very activist far left NGO that wants to destroy the entire Western world, has produced what they say is research that's unverified in any way, and in which they claim such and such. Now, people would look at that and go, oh, that's bullshit. But that's not how they do it. They dress it up as being very serious scientific research that is uncovering a terrible, terrible social problem created by fucking white Nazis. And something must be done. We've got to stop these fucking Nazis from the horrible, bad things they're doing. The research says so. So they couch it in the most dramatic and loaded terms, but fail to mention the actuality or reality. Now, of course, what they're doing is they're hyping up and spreading social division in the West. Why don't they go to China and do this sort of thing? Why don't they go to North Korea and do this sort of thing? Why don't they try this sort of thing in Iran? Why don't they try it in places where there are real issues? But instead, they go to the very, very tolerant West and claim that there are terrible social problems in the West that require urgent, aggressive action to stop these fucking Nazis. So, but this research, this fake research, this bullshit research, is always reported in the media as being scientific and sound and balanced, and it's been tested by the talking heads in the media, that the media's best editors have looked at it and say, yep, this is true. This is it. This is how bad things really are out there. Now, you may say when you're sitting in the lounge room, so looking at it, so, well, gee, I don't know anyone who's been treated that way. I don't know. I've never seen that sort of behavior. It must be just everyone else does it except for me and all the people I know. So we can say that it's bad, but I've never encountered it, you may say to yourself. It's always just out there somewhere, like a unicorn. It could always be around the next corner. Prove that the unicorn's not there. Yeah, you damn fascist Nazi Hitler. You can't, can you? You just proved to me that the unicorn doesn't exist. Yeah, you can't. You're a fucking Nazi. So this is the general attitude that's taken. You once it's asserted, then it's on the responsibility. The burden of proof then shifts to the morally inferior. You morally inferior fucking Nazi, you prove to me that the unicorn doesn't exist. I don't have to do it. I'm morally superior to you. You're morally fucking inferior. You have to prove it to me. No, wait a minute. You're making an assertion such as trans people are being denied employment and denied promotions and pay rises, and that they're being victimized quite horribly every day, then show me that evidence. I'm prepared to believe it, but if you can show me the evidence. Or we anecdotally spoke to, no, it's not fucking evidence. So there's an inability to produce the evidence, but the media, including now business journals and business websites, report these crazy allegations and assertions that are blatantly false. They report it as fact. And it's only when you drill down and have a look at where the stuff's come from, you realise just how fake these things are. But it's not just happening with trans. It's along race and gender lines and LGBT lines and so on. So that now, if a women's soccer team is majority lesbian, but mostly are all white, then that's still not good enough. Now if you're going to have a football team, they have to be black. There has to be a black and Asian or this. Lesbians have to be half, and trans people have to have something. Everything now is driven by quotas, real or imagined in the representation stakes, but by quotas. And this is a very sad state of affairs we're in, and it's just a sign, amongst many signs, that demonstrate the utter madness that the Western world has fallen into. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.